everyone, my name is Kate Kalthoff and welcome to a Stamping to Share video. Today I'm going to share with you this gorgeous card that we're making using the new 2016-18 in colors. And then also, this is my first project that I'm sharing with you from the Find Your Inspiration catalog that just debuted on June 1st. And it goes all the way until May 31st of 2017. So it's a brand new catalog and it's just gorgeous. So let me know if you need a copy and I can tell you how we can go about getting one into your hands. But for right now, I want to share with you this beautiful card using all of these in colors. So you can see the base card is created with our Dapper Denim, and then we have a layer of crumb cake, which is of one of our normal colors, not necessarily one that will be discontinued anytime soon. But then we move into more in colors. We've got Sweet Sugar Plum, Emerald Envy, and then this little pink ring here is Flirty Flamingo, and then we follow that up with Peekaboo Peach. So 5 awesome colors. And then you'll notice the little dots, and the dots are from a new in color selection of enamel dots. You can see all 5 of the in colors here. And I actually have a product share going on right now where you can get a selection of these in my embellishment share. So be sure to visit my blog at www.stampingtoshare.com for a link to that. And so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we are going to need, of course, is our base cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and then I've scored it at 5 1/2. So what I'm going to do is just fold along this score line and give that a good little press. And then we can go ahead and start doing our layers. The next layer will be our crumb cake layers, and we have one for the inside. This is 4 by 5 1/2. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that into the card right now. You can see I did a little bit of stamping. I took the splatter stamp and went ahead and just did a little splatter of the Sweet Sugar Plum there in the corner. And I'm just going to add a little snail to the top of this and set this right here on the inside panel of our card. Then for the outside panel, I have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of our crumb cake paper. And again, just because I have it real handy here, I'm going to go ahead and put this on with some snail. And we'll just set this right here in the center of our card. Now let's go ahead and talk about one of the bundles that we're using. This is the Swirly Bird bundle, and it includes the Swirly Scribbles Thinlet dies. Now I went ahead and I'm going to be pre-cutting some of these things and then just showing you how I layer it up on my Big Shot machine because I didn't want to take the time. There's a lot of Big Shot work on this card. So we'll set this aside for a moment. And then the other bundle that I'm using on this card is our Thoughtful Banners bundle. That includes the Thoughtful Banners stamp set, and you can see there's a ton of words that can be used and you can put them right in these banners. And then it also includes the banner punch. So let's go ahead and do that banner first. So I just have a piece of scrap paper right here. This is in crumb cake, and I'm going to use my Stampin' mat since we're working with photopolymer, and I'm going to ink up my banner in the Dapper Denim. So I'm just going to stamp this right here, and then I can go ahead and ink up the sentiment. And what I did is I put the sentiment on at an angle, and you'll be able to see that better when I stamp it onto the banner. You can see that the sentiment sort of curves around. It doesn't do that normally, but because it's a photopolymer stamp, you can manipulate it a little bit when you put it on your blocks. Then all we have to do is flip our banner punch upside down. We can hold it right over where that banner is and get a perfect punch out for our card. So I'm going to set that aside. And we're going to bring in a piece of little white scrap paper here. This is Whisper White, and I'm going to ink up that little tiny flower that you can find in Swirly Bird. It's right up here. And I'm going to ink that also in Dapper Denim. Then I'm going to take my Swirly Scribbles, which has a little one of these little framelets on here that I can layer over the top of this flower. It fits perfectly, and run it through my Big Shot machine. Now I did do that already, and I'll show you that when we get to that step on the card. So let me bring the card back into the picture and I'll show you what we're going to work on next. We're going to do the next layer of the card, which is Sweet Sugar Plum, and you'll notice there's a cutout in it, and inside the cutout we've gone ahead and we've put those long kind of like wavy swirls that go in through there. And so let me show you the layers for that. I have a 3 3/4 inch by 5 inch piece of the Sweet Sugar Plum. And then for the Dapper Denim, I've cut that at 2.5 by 5 inches. So let me show you how I work this on the Big Shot machine. Now you can go ahead and use your magnetic plate and your precision plate, but Stampin' Up! Also recently introduced a new platform that you can purchase for your Big Shot machine. So the Big Shot platform itself has changed rather dramatically in that there is no connecting and flip-flopping like we had to do in the past. This one eliminates all of that, and it also eliminates, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but when you've run through your dies, sometimes you'll find that the center of the die didn't cut out when it was in the center of the platform. So what Stampin' Up! Did is they actually added a shim already built into this platform, and you probably can't actually even see it. Maybe you can, but there's a very thin shim right through the center of the platform, which is wonderful. And so this is the Big Shot platform that you would put on your Big Shot and use exclusively with embossing folders, which shows you right on the front here. Then there's the thin die adapter, which is what you will use for your thinlets and framelets. Now if you're using your framelit pieces, this is all you need, plus your cut plate, plus your paper, plus your top plate. If you are using it with thinlets, like we're going to be doing on this particular die, I'm going to go ahead and put my precision plate over the top of this, and then let's go ahead and I'll show you how I layer up these papers. I'm going to take that piece of Sweet Sugar Plum, that's 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and what I want to do is I want to take that wave die, which looks like this, and I'm just going to put it right over, and we're going to set it on here like this. And all I'm aiming to do is to have this die centered so that the same amount extends on this side as on this side. And I'm putting it towards the bottom because I want my flower to be right here. So then once I run that through the Big Shot machine, I actually have 2 pieces that will look like this, and then I discarded this piece that has the waves because I want blue waves. So to do the blue waves, I take my 2.5 by 5 inch piece of paper, and again I just center this onto my precision plate. I put my die down over the top of it, and again all you have to do is make sure that you have this about the same amount on each side. Then you can go ahead and run that through the Big Shot machine, and when you're done with that, you have your piece that looks like this. Now the piece that I run over the top of this, so for example, let's just do this. I've got my piece of paper, I've got my die, I've got it so that it's about equal on both sides. Then I put my cut plate over the top. Now I do want to mention this because your cut plate over time will warp. You can see that mine is warped. So if you're worried about your die moving, you can always add, you know, a little post-it note to it, and that will hold it in place so that it doesn't move when you run it through. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how we layer this up on our card. So here are our pieces, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take some snail, and I'm going to center this onto our card panel, and then I'll add a little bit of snail to this piece, and we'll also center this in so that the bottom 3 edges are even, just like we made sure the top 3 edges were even. And now we can go ahead and we'll see that this, oops, I better get it turned the right way. This will fit in here really nicely. Now it might not be exact, but it doesn't matter because you're going to be layering other things over here. So before we go any further, let's go ahead and do some stamping. So I'm getting my stamp mat and putting that on here, and I'm inking up the dots with the Sweet Sugar Plum, and we're just going to do some tone on tone stamping. So we're just going to bring this through here, maybe one up here, and then maybe one more down here. So that's all we're going to do. Then we can go ahead and we can layer in these waves just like this. So to do that, I'm going to just go ahead and use some multi-purpose liquid glue and just a little skinny line on some of these waves. All right, now all we have to do is flip this over and set it in right where it will fit. And there we have our waves. going through the center of our card. Very nice and easy. And then it's just a matter of doing the exact same thing with the Big Shot machine that we did with our waves, except now we're going to use the flowers. So again, I'll show you how I did that. So I have my Big Shot platform, then I added the thin die adapter, then I went ahead and I added my precision plate, then I took 3 pieces of paper. So I've got Emerald Envy cut at 3 3/4. I have my Flirty Flamingo cut at 2 inches, and then I have a 2-inch square of Peekaboo Peach. And then what I did is I just took the dies and I laid them over the top. Fits in perfectly, just like this. Then I added my plate over the top and I run it through the Big Shot machine. Once I've done that, I have my 3 flower pieces. Now you'll notice on my card that my Flirty Flamingo flower is smooth. And the Flirty Flamingo flower, when it comes out of the Big Shot machine, has these little petals on it, kind of like these little leaves. All I did is I took a scissors and I just went around and I just cut those off. It makes the die a little bit more versatile. I mean, it looks kind of more like a bird nest when you have the leaves in there, but I just wanted to look more like a flower. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just trimming these little pieces away. There we go. So we have our flower all trimmed up, and now we're ready to go ahead and layer it. So what we want is we want a flower that ultimately looks like this. To do that, we have to have some kind of a base to lay our flower on. So what I did is I took a piece of scrap from our Dapper Denim and I cut a 2-inch circle punch. Then all I have to do is I'm just going to take a little multi-purpose liquid glue and I'm just going to run a little bit of glue along this center strip. Then I'll go ahead and attach that to that 2-inch circle cutout. So that's the first layer of our flower. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the exact same thing with the Flirty Flamingo. We'll just add a little bit of glue on some of these wider spots. Now we can flip that over and put this right here. And then again, the same thing on the Peekaboo Peach cutout. We'll just add this right here. And there we have our beautiful little cutout. So then it's time to go ahead and start putting our card together. So all I have to do now is add dimensionals. So I'm just going to add 3 dimensionals to our flower piece. And we'll set this on here just like so. And then we have that little Oh Happy Day that we did in the very beginning of the video. And I'm just going to add a little bit of dimensional to the back of that. I like using these little strips. It's a good way to use up those strips for these long pieces. You can set that in right here. Beautiful. And then we've got that little small flower cutout. And again, I'm just going to take a little tiny dimensional piece. This is just a little piece that's been cut off of another dimensional, and then I can just set this in right here. Just gives it a nice little pop up here by that Oh Happy Day. So we're going to take these accents, and I think I'll use the Dapper Denim. So I'm just going to pull one away with my paper piercing tool, and we can add one down here. We'll add another one right here, and then one more right over here. And that, I think, adds the perfect finishing touch. So here's the card I've just completed. Here's the card I had done in advance. And that's your tutorial for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for stopping by Stamping to Share. And if you'd like to place an order out of the new catalog, be sure to visit my blog where I have links to my ordering page. Have a great day. I truly appreciate you. Bye-bye.